my favorite media to work with is printmaking. I love making block prints and I love making mono prints. And as you can see behind me, I'm currently working on one right now. Usually we use these tools called gouges to carve into a piece of material such as wood or linoleum to produce an image for printing. But in this video, I'm going to show you a quick way to do it at home using styrofoam and markers. This is a fun way for the whole family to become printmakers. So check it out, let me know what you think, and if you make something, show me. Alright, are you guys ready to make some art? These are some examples of what you can do with today's process using the styrofoam. These are just some examples that I created, but you can use any image that you want. You're going to need a pencil, a pen, and some water, and something to apply the water with, either a paintbrush, a small rag, or a small sponge. And of course, you need some styrofoam and some paper. Here's a really quick and easy drawing that I have. I'm going to go ahead and flip it around and use the side of my pencil and just go back and forth, adding a layer of graphite to the paper. And this is going to help me transfer the image from this paper onto the styrofoam. I'm going to go ahead and just transfer this image onto the styrofoam and place the image over the styrofoam, making sure it doesn't move, and I'm just going to trace it. While I'm tracing, I don't really want to press down hard. I just want to press down enough to where the image is transferred with the graphite from the back of the paper onto the styrofoam. And it doesn't have to be perfect, we can always change it up once we get to the styrofoam. Alright, and there you go. You can barely see it, and that's what you want. Here's a closer look, and you can kind of feel it, kind of not. For this process to work, we have to have an indentation of the image. So I'm going to go over it again with my pen, and this time I'm going to press it down a little bit more. Try not to press down too hard, because if you do, you end up going through the styrofoam. And if you go through the styrofoam on a shape, like the circle, the shape itself will fall off, and we don't want that. We want to keep the shape. We want to keep the circles, the petals, and take your time. The smoother you make the lines, the smoother your image will come out. We want to be able to feel the drawing on the styrofoam once it's transferred over with a pen. Okay, here we go. Don't be afraid to rotate your styrofoam to make the tracing easier. A lot of people think that you have to keep the drawing straight up and down, but you can always rotate it. You can see that even my lines are not the straightest or the smoothest. That's fine. Okay, so we have the image transferred over onto our styrofoam. We went over it again with the pen to kind of make an indentation. And I'm going to give you a quick example of what we can do. Using a Crayola marker, I'm just going to go over it really quick. I'm not too worried about getting the marker into the indentations. Let's put this to the side for a minute. I'm going to grab my paper. Just make sure your paper is a little thicker than regular copy paper. You want to be able to add water to it without it going through. I'm going to spread the water out with my paintbrush. You can use a sponge or a rag. We don't want to put too much water. A good way to see it is if your paper gets shiny, then it's perfect. If there are puddles of water in there, that's too much water. Okay, you want to be able to lift the paper and see the shine without any water dripping. Going back to the styrofoam, I'm going to carefully lay over the paper onto the styrofoam. And using this bottle cap, you can use your hand or a spoon, but I'm going to use this bottle cap to make small circles over the styrofoam, making sure that I don't move the styrofoam and that I don't move the paper. Now you can go over it with your hand. Try not to press too hard. We want to slide over it. And once I feel that I've gone over every piece of the styrofoam, I'm done. Now it's time to flip it over. Bam, there you go. Anything that had an indentation on it, anything that was deeper than the surface, is going to come out white. Everything on top of the styrofoam that we colored will appear as color. The cool thing about these plates that you make with styrofoam is you can reuse them. Let's get a little more detailed on the coloring. I'm going to take this yellow and color the top halves of these petals a yellow color. Now I'm going to take this orange and just color in some parts orange. You can use any image, any colors that you want, but the process is you transfer the image onto the styrofoam. You make sure there's indentations for your line drawings. Anything that you want white, you're going to press down a little bit more on it while you're going over it with a pen. And then you just color it as you please. Have fun with it. This process is super fun to use during Valentine's, where you can take the same image and create 30 different copies. And if you color each one individually and different, you're going to have 30 different unique Valentine cards. Don't forget to add color to the background. It just makes it way more interesting. If you go over, if you mix the colors, don't worry about it too much. You can always make another print. When it comes to printmaking, this is both a block print and a mono print. A block print means you make an indentation on a surface, on a piece of wood, a piece of linoleum, in this case a piece of styrofoam. But since we're coloring them individually in different ways, they're technically a mono print. And a mono print just refers to mono meaning one. So one print, which means this one print is unique. Even if I color it the same way or try to color it the same way on a second print, the marks that I've made and the way the colors will mix will end up being different. So each one is unique. Each mono print is its own artwork, and you can come up with very different variations of a mono print using the same plate. I like to start off by putting the paper right in the middle and then spreading it off to the sides. And here you go. I'm going to smooth it out once more, making sure I've gone over every piece of the styrofoam. And if you see the edges somewhat bending and folding to the sides of the styrofoam, that's a good sign that you've pressed hard enough. Remember not to press too hard while you're moving around. You just want to glide over the surface. All right, here's the moment of truth. Let's find out what we got. Did it work? Did it not work? This is always the fun part. And bam, I like that. Remember that I can color this plate over and over again. Just remember that when you are making multiple copies of a print from the same plate, if you don't want your colors to mix too much, be sure to wipe down the styrofoam after every print. Well, hopefully you guys learned something. If you do produce some prints, I want to see them. Find us on Facebook by searching up ArtTrike830, or find us on the website www.arttrike830.com. Until next time, this is Leo from the Art Trike. Keep creating, you pass. Bye bye.